Hey Morgan, how are you?
Hi, sweetie. I'm doing really, really good. I am extremely, extremely happy to be here today. And you?
Well, I wanted to be happy to be here, but the reason why we're talking today is talk about something that's on my last nerve. And I think it's on the last nerve of many women. So yes, I'm actually well. I'm having a good day, but I'm also in the middle of kind of like a rant moment. So I'm kind
Okay.
of like having like a little rager over here because of school traffic and back to school.
Oh my goodness. Is that what we're talking about today?
That's what we're talking. And I know it seems like no, no, no. I'll tell you what. Here's the reason why we're going to talk about this because I noticed that yesterday that thing literally almost ruined my whole day. All right, so listen, y'all. My name is Chatone Morrison. I am the Princess of Positivity. You have just fallen into an episode of Getting to After. This is season 2 for us, and
Mhm.
I believe that you can release your negativity so your positive can reign your brain, your business, and your big but beautiful life. You just may not be able to do it if you're behind a car loop. You may not, it may not happen. I don't know if you're going to be able to find positivity if you're behind someone who's actually parked. All right, Morgan, before I get to ranting too hard, all right, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to anyone for some
Oh, man.
oddball reason who has never been with us and doesn't know who you are?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Everybody, I'm Morgan Bustos, and I'm the other co-host to Getting to After. I'm really excited because I get to be able to not only be an EFT practitioner, but also a coach. And so people here get to be able to have a really enjoyable, safe place to just communicate and know that they're cared about and supported. So I know firsthand that it's really, really awesome to be able to have people that are passionate about what they do. And so we are here to do that for you.
That's us. That's
Really?
us. I want to make sure that you do not miss next week's episode because just give a little teaser.
Yes.
We have an amazing guest for next week, and she is going to bring the fire. Today we are ranting, but next week, don't miss next week. But this is an interesting topic, I think. As we move from summer into fall, everything changes. All right. So, not just the trees, it doesn't matter where you live in the country, it doesn't matter something's happening in your life, the seasons are changing, or our bodies go through hormonal changes, and definitely there's a change when the kids go back to school, and it's
Mm.
just kind of like I'm like, what happened? There's like this invisible load that's put on us, and I'm not saying that fathers don't have it too or men don't have it too, but moms,
It's different, yeah.
we have it. You know what I mean? It's the school traffic, we're still trying to get to work, or ourselves, we're trying to get back home because we're entrepreneurs. We got to take calls and do the thing. We are
Mm,
going to talk a little bit about the dreaded homeschool. It's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing and a curse, right?
yep.
There's endless drop offs, and it just
Mm,
escalates after summer. And as I mentioned, that the bus loop, that car loop, and that long line of traffic. For me, it's down Route 108 in Columbia, Maryland, and all the towns thereafter. I want to throttle the road because of the bus that's in front of me. And I didn't have that a week ago or 2 weeks ago. And I really wish that I was back there again. So
oh
we're going
my
to talk about how can you create that little bit of time for yourself, that little bit of stress relief, because the last thing you want to do is go back home and be a really mean mom, or go into work and rage at your coworker because of traffic, or because of a car loop, or because of there being a lot more kids on the road or whatever. Like let's not do that. You know what I mean?
no, no. Or being frustrated because there's people there like 2 hours before the kids get let out, and so you can't move either because they're still sitting there. Like, why? Explain to me why. I kid you not, that's like back when I lived in Colorado and having, my children being in different towns, you know what I mean, going to school in different places.
Yeah. And
That
you had
was
so many. Like, did you have a minivan?
I no, I had an Armada. Shout out to
Oh,
the Armadas. Those are great if you have a big family. Amazing.
because I mean, you gotta remember you were dropping this one, dropping that one. I mean, did you find that when it was time for school to be back in, that you had a level of anxiety?
Oh, huge. Because there's it just having to go back into that regiment of having a strict schedule to make sure everybody was up in time, their stuff was ready, to be able to have them to get out to the car, to be able to go and drive and all that jazz.
Yeah.
But just going from such like a smooth, easy summertime into
Yeah.
having to have that structure again, it was just difficult at some points, you know what I mean? And especially then going into not only having school, but then if your kids have extracurricular activities, like you know that mine did, right? So
I
it was
said, these kids can make what? You mentioned stuff, and this is back in the day, y'all. As I mentioned, like we are very close friends for a lot of years, but I didn't
Mhm,
get to actually physically meet her until just a few years ago. And she
mhm,
was talking about stuff that I was like, "Is that just a West thing?" Because she's from Colorado. Like,
mhm.
I'm from the Northeast. Is that something that only goes on in the West? What are you talking about? Like, I didn't even understand the activities your kids were in.
Well, and it was hard too because having the 4 different children, each of them were in something different, or the or just even having to have them maybe not even be different, but multiples back to back. Like they had different events back to back. And so it was constantly this anxiety of like, oh, I have to hurry and get them here. I have 15 minutes to get across town. I have to, hurry and go pick them up from school. And then I have to take this one to, to cross town over there. And then I have to take this one over there. And then I still have to be back over to pick this one up in time. There was just so much of the back and forth that it almost brought like a whole nother level of anxiety with them coming back into school.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, we're going to be talking more about this next month, but obviously, as a domestic violence survivor, you were doing all of that and also navigating a very difficult marital paradigm. And
Mm.
so I know you couldn't be late.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different than just like I'm ranting and I probably should be quiet now. Because what I'm ranting about is not that important. It just caused me stress. But I mean, there's a lot of moms out there of all different ages that are navigating the everyday stuff that everyone else is navigating that's annoying, but for them becomes a much harder and heavier lift because
Yeah.
of the other things that they're carrying as well. And so it just feels like, no matter where we are, there's going to be like this push and pull when it comes to our children. But I
Mm.
think even for those that don't have kids, this time frame sort of like everything feels like it's changing a little bit, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Like you brought up, it's the weather, it's the environment, everything, the seasons changing. You just feel a difference.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember, one of the things I've always admired about you is that you did do all those things. I mean, cape wearing, mom, cape wearing. Mine was in the dry cleaner. Like they lost mine. They lost it. They were like, we don't. They lost it. And then when they gave it back, the little string, the string was gone, and so I couldn't put it on anymore. So well, like I just couldn't wear it anymore. Um, but I do think that for all of us, the longer commute times, and
Mm,
even for those I work at home, but I do ministry as well, and so I'm going into DC, I'm going into Virginia. I have these long train commutes, 2 hours, and
yeah.
if 2 hours doesn't seem like a lot for a commute, guess what? It is. It's a
Is that
lot
one
for a
way?
commute. I'm
Is that
sorry?
one way? One way on a train.
Well, the commute to the train and then the train ride, 2 trains. Yeah, yeah, to get to ministry, absolutely. And I'm not complaining about it at all. It's just a
Mhm.
thing. So now if you put a bus in front of me or a mom that wants to drive 20 miles an hour,
That
welcome,
Sunday driving on Monday.
man, I'm gonna need you to put your foot down on your pedal. All right, so
Oh,
here's the deal. The thing is that these are things that we don't even think about. These are things that we might, complain about here or there. Is the things you talk about with a coworker, but especially for those of us who do work at home or we're, homeschooling moms, which I know you're still doing, or you don't have people to kind of just throw this information on and just get rid of it. It
mm.
kind of sits with you. These are the things that raise cortisol levels, and you're not even thinking about it. These are the things that make you go through that Krispy Kreme drive-through, right?
Twice in one day.
When you had no intention of doing that. You're like, I'm not gonna eat that anymore or whatever. No diss to Krispy Kreme. But I mean you're like, I'm gonna do something better for my body, especially in midlife. And the next thing you know, you find yourself in the drive through and you don't
Mhm.
even know where did that is. Okay, Morgan, I'm back. I don't know what just happened there. My computer was not behaving. Even my computer know the season's changing.
It's moody.
Maybe there was a bus in front of my computer just now. Anyway, you know what happens is these little things kind of stack on top of each other. And one of
Yeah.
the things we want to do today is kind of like put those things out. Are they the most important thing that's going on in your life? No. Are they there though? And can they annoy? And those little minor annoyances start to build. And
Mm,
when things start to build, you will react. And sometimes we don't even know why we're reacting. And
mm,
that's what we like to do here at Getting to After as well, is label things, put names to things, and allow you to just acknowledge, okay, you have the permission. You want to be mad about something that seems
mm,
frivolous? Go for it, girl, and then get over it. You
mm.
go for it and then you get over it. You go for it and then you get after it. Because the thing is, we don't want it to stay with you. So, Morgan, I'm gonna bring up a dreaded topic:
What are we talking about, baby?
homeschool.
Which part of it? Because that in itself is such a huge subject. I think everybody realized uh, it's in the pandemic that homeschooling is really a huge deal. Like it takes so much out of you. It takes so much supervision and time, and it's
Yes.
constant.
Yeah. About homeschooling, I think that was interesting was, that time was that people started to learn that having kids at home is not easy.
Mm,
And granted, you may be a homeschooling mom or, a homeschooling grandmom, and, you're not doing an additional job, or maybe you have, a smaller kind of side gig type of, income, a residual income or something like that. But the truth is, when you have young people, as you mentioned, Morgan, you're trying to coach, supervise. My kids were in virtual private school, so I didn't have to physically teach them. Good thing. They're both very smart, and I wasn't trying to ruin them. But at the same time, I had to make sure it was getting done. And I know at the end of the school year last year, you're like, wait, what? You didn't finish what?
it just it's overwhelming sometimes
Yeah.
because people don't realize that just because you're a stay-at-home mom and you're homeschooling, that you don't have all the time in the world. You know what I mean? Okay, so this is one thing that is really, really hard for me because when I was homeschooling previously, and I was doing all the teaching, it was so stressful because there wasn't there wasn't a difference between, because we're home, right? There's not a difference between mom and
Yeah.
teacher, or
Yeah.
teacher and mom. So teacher always was extending over into like dinner and the rest of the evening because I'm like, you need to do your homework. Why isn't this done? And it was so frustrating because I didn't feel like I actually got to enjoy
Your
just
kids.
my
Yeah.
kid, right? Being the mommy part. So that part was hard. And then also not being able to have, I don't know, like people just treat you differently when you're a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah. And I mean, we don't talk a lot about being stay at home moms because both of us are work at home moms. And I mean, I've obviously I left corporate, but you were a stay at home mom, before your husband passed, and when you were in Colorado, and under very difficult circumstances, and you were a super mom. But I know that what people tend to do, and I've had a lot of my friends even say this, like, you must be available. You're home, right? You're there. I can just stop by, right? I can just call you. Why didn't you pick up?
Yeah.
You're there. Are you there? Are you there?
Or
It's
they'd
just
be
like,
salty. Be salty because you didn't answer the door or answer the phone. Well, I know you're home. I saw your car. That doesn't mean I'm available. I could be in the middle of something.
I
Yeah.
think it's just that little bit of invisibility, which I wanted to address today as well. That
Mm,
when when the seasons start changing and you have these additional responsibilities as a mom, as a working mom,
mm,
as a working woman who maybe has no children, but now you feel that additional pressure. And when you don't have children, you may not be able to name it. Why do I feel like this? Why am I more uptight? Because the energy is changing around you. And we are all connected beings. So my energy, you're going to, well, we're a different story because we feel each other's energy. But I mean, we're going to feel each other's energy. You may be in a workplace and be in a cubicle and be a single woman, don't have children, no doggy, cat, nothing, right? And you're like, the energy starts to feel different around you. It's other people's stress. And one of the
mm,
things about emotional freedom technique is trying to figure out how can we tamp down
mm,
those stressors? How do we detoxify? How do we push it further away from us? Of course, we want to embrace the things we're going through first,
mm,
acknowledge them, put words to them, name them, but then have mercy, release them, because that's really important too. Um, but this idea, what you mentioned about this invisibility, this people not noticing what you're doing, it does come back to acknowledgement and self congratulation as well. No
Mm,
one is giving any medals to a homeschooling mom.
mm.
She could be doing it for 4, 7, 8, 10 kids. One of my mentors here in Maryland did it for 7 children. Every single one of those kids have graduated high honors from college. Yeah,
That's impressive.
yeah. Homeschooled from the youth up, 7 of them. And I've met all of them, and they are fantastic people. I know them. This one was a Mary Kay. Shout out to you, Vicky. She was her kids, man. They're just like some of the most amazing kids, and she homeschooled all of them. In fact, created homeschool programs. And even though that's not really what we're talking about as far as homeschooling, but she
Mhm,
was a work at home mom, a stay at home mom, a homeschooling mom, and she also created a huge creator because she was a Mary Kay director as well, and so it's interesting when talking to her because I did, of course, as I was thinking about taking both my kids out of school, I talked
mhm,
with her. Give me some tidbits, give me some advices. And one of the things she would mention is that just because you're home doesn't mean you're not busy.
mhm,
Just because you're home does not mean you cannot create your boundaries. And when she would actually be time for her to do her work, she would take her work outside. She would either go to her studio or go to a favorite coffee shop or
mhm,
things like that, so that she didn't feel invisible, so that she didn't feel as if, okay, I'm here now, everyone's just going to keep running around me and not give me the space that I need.
mm. It's funny because so many times we do forget to take care of ourselves.
Yeah,
You know, we do so much for everybody else around us, and we forget that those little things can be super simple. It can be
yeah,
super simple. I know, like back in the day, I was doing so much constantly and not taking those minutes, like little minutes, like you had just said, for
yeah,
my, even to the extent of not sitting down and eating. And it was funny because just the other day, my youngest daughter was saying that to one of our friends, and she was like, "Yeah, we always stand up when we're eating." And she was like, "You what?" And she's like, "We've always stood up when we were eating." And she's like, "You don't sit down at the dinner table?" And Sequoia's like, "Well, yeah, but my mom always stands up." And it was because I was constantly having to go to the next thing,
yeah.
to the next
Next,
thing, to the next thing, right? So it just kept me going. But um, being able to just take that, it's not even being able to, telling myself
make
that
a
I'm deserving.
decision. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that I'm deserving of and making
yeah,
that decision to take care of myself, and
is
especially
important.
when the kids go back to school, you have to
Yeah,
be able to do something for yourself too, to make sure that you're shifting and pivoting with that for yourself too, not just everybody
yeah,
else around you.
yeah. I want to just say something that I've never seen you stand and eat because when you're in my presence, I probably don't engender that. So let's make sure that we
Oh
are in
my.
community with people that challenge our habits because I've never seen that. Every single time we've been together, except for one time in Dallas when we were standing in front of the refrigerator, all you, me, and Big Sissy were
Oh,
dragging food out by the handful because we were so hungry
so
and we
hungry.
couldn't get to sitting down because we were too hungry. We're eating directly out of the refrigerator because we 10 hours. That's different.
It was
But
literally, like, right out of the pan. We were so hungry. Oh my goodness.
but I mean, I think that's a really interesting thing. And here again, we always talk about this. We model for our kids, and
Mm,
more is caught than is taught. And so the things we think are nothing, our kids are picking up on from a
mm,
very young age all the way up. And they will model that later on, even if she would be like, oh, I didn't like this, but she'll do it later. It's
mm,
just how we are. We just absorb in that way. When people dismiss the amount of work that we're doing, that's where that little invisibility comes from. Or
yeah.
when someone, I'm glad she said that, shout out to that baby. I'm happy she said that because it will remind you, oh, let me sit down.
Honey,
Yeah,
that is it literally rubbed me the wrong way. I
I'm
was like,
sure.
"Look," like, I was like, "You know how many times we sat at that dinner table? How come you're not bringing that up? How we always talk and we have great conversations?" But that's what stood out to her,
Yeah,
is that I'm cooking, I'm making your plates, I'm setting it down at the table for you guys to sit
yeah,
down while I'm still, like, cleaning up everything, and I'm, like, taking bites as we go, but it's so important just to be still while I'm
yeah.
and
Yeah.
interact with your children. Because then I remember her saying to me, Sequoia said to me, she was like, "Mom," we were doing, because we would always do um, like our Bible reading or something like that at the dinner table together,
Uh-huh.
right?
Mhm.
And she just said to me, she's like, "Can't we just talk?" And in that moment in time, I she was saying, "Mom, I just want your attention. Like, let
Yeah.
me ask you how your day is. I
Yeah.
want to know about you, you know,
Yeah.
that kind
Yeah.
of thing."
Yeah.
So really
Yeah.
listen to our kids when they're talking to us.
Yeah. I think it's a whole nother episode. We'll get into that later on this fall because, even though we don't always talk about the kids, and
Mhm,
my kids are now more, or well, you have some grown kids, more grown than mine, and I have some, you're younger and older. But I think that there's so much about the topic of raising kids, and especially the single mom. And
mhm,
for those of you again listening on the replay or in the on the premiere, stay tuned because of course in October we'll be talking a lot more about motherhood and survivorship, and we have some really nice resources that are going to be coming out soon. So to really be a support and a resource and to help women to understand you're not alone. And sometimes I'm going to rant, okay? I'm just going to rant. But at the end of the rant is a really good heart that I don't really care that much about the buses. Just get out of my way, will you? But seriously, it's not. Seriously, we are here because we recognize that sometimes you just need someone to see you, and
mm,
that idea of feeling invisible, like no one gets it, no one gets how I feel, that is such a detrimental feeling, and we want to put words and practical advice to those kind of feelings because you don't have to do big things. Like for example, Morgan, I know that you're a person who will be in that car. We've talked about it before, but just reiterate some of those things that are pressure release valves for you when
mm.
you're in your car.
Oh, absolutely. So anybody that knows me knows that when I need a minute, I go for a drive.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I do. I go for a drive, I turn on my music, like, as loud as I can handle it at that moment in time, and then I'll roll down my windows so I get the fresh air, like, blowing, like, all the things are being stimulated, so I'm feeling, like, the wind on me, my audio, you know what I mean? Like, everything is being stimulated because it helps me decompress
Yeah.
instantly,
Yeah.
instantaneously. So by removing myself from the situation, by giving myself something else to hear, like an audible, by giving myself something physical to do and visual, it's able to, like, help me reboot and reset, and
Mhm.
you know what I mean? That's when I get, like, the best clarity, I guess you
Mhm.
could say, when I'm able to do things like that,
But
yeah.
I am not a person who necessarily needs to listen to music in the car. It drives my kids crazy because I love silence in the car. Silence. I want to be able to hear the tire on the road. I want with all my windows up to hear a bird in a tree as I'm going by at 40 miles an hour. That helps me, just absolute silence.
Hmm,
Um, and then intermittently I'll cut some music on, especially if I'm getting tired. But I
yeah,
think that the point is whatever works for you. Give yourself the time and see yourself, because just because other people aren't acknowledging your stress or acknowledging what's irritating your nerves doesn't mean you should do the same. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't acknowledge it for yourself. And I think for me, of course, it's back there in the background, fat and happy, having those end of day rituals,
yeah,
movement breaks. I
mhm,
learned movement breaks from my sister, who, when I mean, this is years ago, I first started working from home full time when I moved to Maryland. And I just couldn't, the kids were small. I just had Levi and I wasn't getting an opportunity to get to the gym and things like that. And she recommended that I get a 2x4 and put it in my office. And when I was on conference calls, walk back and forth on my 2x4 and do balance exercises and work on my core. I promise you.
What?
Yes, and this is before Zoom calls. I would do it on a Zoom call though, but this is before Zoom calls. But I would do that. I would have that 2x4 in my office on the floor, and I would walk the plank, so to speak. And I would do core work, and I would do balance work, and I had weights in my office, and I had a headset. I was a headset girl,
Yeah,
and that's before a lot of wireless. I couldn't walk too. There been a time when I was too cool. I forgot. The whole operation fell on the floor a couple of times. But it was one of those things that allowed me to see myself in the moment. Nobody else could see what I was doing. It didn't distract me. In fact, I think it helped me to focus even more, that little movement. But
Yeah.
implementing that for yourself, isn't that deep? Yeah,
Yeah.
Big Sissy taught me that. It works. And she still does her every hour walk around her house. So she's not missing a day of 15,000 steps or more because
Yeah.
every hour for 10 minutes she walks that house. She's got a pretty nice
Every
sized
hour?
house every hour. And she doesn't need a timer. It's that, again, that neuroplasticity. We need
Yeah.
to train ourselves what we want to do. And then she just gets up. Sometimes we're talking. Where are you going? I'm going for a walk. Okay. She's gone. You know what I
Well,
mean?
that does so much for her nervous system, though.
Yes.
You're removing yourself from the situation. You're getting that deep breath as you're, exerting yourself. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Coming up with those little um those habits, new habits in the fall magazine, which will be coming out soon. I'm going to give you a teaser. One of the articles is about creating a fall bucket list and doing it now. Like, what is your bucket list? I didn't make the cut for the summer issue because the summer issue was so big. Like, it
Amazing.
didn't make the cut. So the
Amazing.
fall issue will have your, creating your fall bucket list. And so Morgan and I will have some of our bucket list things on there and create it and just make it happen, because while all this other maybe negative or not so positive energy is going on, if you don't take control of the things that are going
Mm,
to feed you, just
mm,
will always be in before mode and irritated. All right, Morgan, what's one more tip you want to give to a mom that might lighten her load?
mm. To have boundaries.
Oh,
I think that was one of the no, not it was. It is really one of the biggest things I struggle with. I really honestly wish I would have known about having clear, distinct boundaries a long time ago. I don't have those clear, distinct boundaries. Like even like just for example, like with my kids,
yeah,
they don't know what's expected of them.
yeah,
And so then they I know I like to know what's expected of me because I want to
yes,
know where I need to perform and how things need to be done. So for them, it's almost been hard to like reel them back in now that things
yeah,
have changed. And so trying to teach them, even though we had to live things a certain way previously, like now we don't have to do that. We're not in survival mode anymore.
yeah.
So having a whole nother set of boundaries is being implemented now. So, I think that's definitely is one thing that can help parents and help their children too.
Yeah, and moms especially.
People aren't going to give you the acknowledgement that you need, so you need to do it for yourself and
Yeah.
make a big deal of it. You know what I mean? Be proud of yourself. Pat yourself on the back. Dance. Yeah, exactly. Dance around. Be proud. Yeah.
The thing is that we don't do that. We're not taught to do that, but it's important. And one of the things we're going to do in this particular tapping transformation today is honor some of that. Some of that. Morgan, you're going to lead for us, right, today?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're going to lead for us. All right. So listen, if you've never tapped with us before, please go out to our podcast on YouTube. Make sure that you're looking and you can find countless, probably 50 tappings that we've done, because we are in season 2 of the Getting to After podcast. You also make sure you get our magazine. The fall is coming out soon. I think when this will air, you can still get the summer issue at bit.ly/G2A-summer. But every one of our magazines is always going to have tapping in it as well. And in the description box below, I'll put some information so that you know, okay, I need to learn how to tap. What do I do? And real quick, I will put up our banner so that you can know how to get in touch with us if you would like to be a part of, having an EFT practitioner as a coach. So excited. This is the second week in a row I'm not tapping.
I love
So
it when you do that thing with your tongue. You guys, she does that when she's either thinking really, really hard or super
I'm
excited
really
about it.
giddy.
It's adorable.
Giddy.
I love it. I love
It's
it.
giddy. We're going to be releasing back to school woes, but think about it this way. Think about this as being during this time when you start to feel the energy start to shift. The truth is something is happening as the
Yeah.
seasons change, as the days get shorter, as when you feel that energy kind of shift, and then you also feel like, where's everybody? I'm working harder. I'm
Mm,
feeling like things are more stressful. Where's everybody at? Like, why is nobody giving? Why isn't anyone seeing me? We see you. We
mm.
see you. And we're going to tap with you right now.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to start off on the side of our hand. Right here, we call it the karate chop point. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to just go ahead and lightly tap on the side of our hand. And if you'd like to, you're more than welcome to join along with me and repeat after me, or you can just say it in your head, or you can just enjoy being a part of this and listening. So, even though traffic, schedules, and chaos drain me,
Even though traffic, schedules, and chaos drain me,
I deeply honor the weight I carry.
I deeply honor the weight I carry.
Even though being home with my kids means I never get a break,
Even though being home with my kids means I never get a break,
I honor my effort as real work.
I honor my effort as real work.
Even though people don't always see the load I hold,
Even though people don't always see the load I hold,
I choose to see and support myself.
I can support myself. That's good.
Beautiful. Let's take a deep breath in. And we're going to blow all the way out. I invite you to roll your neck around, kind of stretch out a little bit. Feel that tension leave your neck, your body. And then just enjoy being in this moment for just a second.
Oh, what a way to start a Tuesday, I tell you, Morgan.
Right? Well, we're not done yet. It gets better.
Oh, I know. Good.
Okay, so let's go ahead and start at the top of our eyebrow point.
Okay.
This back to school stress.
It's back to school stress.
Side of eye. The traffic and the waiting.
The traffic and the waiting.
Under eye. Or the silence of being home all day.
Or the silence of being home all day.
Under nose. No one really sees my effort.
No one really sees my effort.
Chin. I feel so stretched.
I feel so stretched.
Collarbone. So much pressure.
So much pressure.
Underarm. This invisible weight.
This invisible weight.
Top of head. And I'm carrying it all.
And I'm carrying it all.
Eyebrow point. It's not just trafficked, it's stolen time.
It's not just traffic, it's stolen time.
Side of eye. It's not just homeschooling, it's energy drained.
It's not just homeschooling, it's energy drained.
Under eye. I never really clock out.
I never, ever clock out.
Under nose. I carry too much unseen.
I carry too much unseen.
Chin. It feels unfair.
It feels unfair.
Collarbone. It feels lonely.
It feels lonely.
Underarm. This is so much for just one person.
This is so much for just one person.
Top of head. And it lives inside my body.
And it lives inside my body.
Eyebrow point. I can let some of this go.
I can let some of this go.
Side of eye. I don't have to hold it all.
I don't have to hold it all.
Under eye. I can breathe even now.
I can breathe even now.
Under nose. I release the judgment.
I release the judgment.
Chin. I release the guilt.
I release the guilt.
Collarbone. I release the silence.
I release the silence.
Underarm. I can set this down.
I can set this down.
Top of head. Because I don't have to carry everything.
Because I don't have to carry everything.
Let's go ahead and put our hands down. We're going to take a deep breath in as deeply as possible. And then as we're doing that, when you're blowing out, I really want you to push all the air out of your body and make an audible sound so that you can release everything that we just went through. So breathe in and out. How does that feel?
Good. Really good. Really good.
You know, it's interesting when we get to a point when we realize that it's not all on us.
Yeah.
That it's okay to ask for help and it's okay to take a step to the side for a minute to take care of ourselves, which is exactly what we just did, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think too, the thing is that the entry point of your stress is not the exit point. And everyone, I want you to think about that. I want you to listen to it again. The entry point of your stress is not the exit point, which means that the thing that triggers you is not the thing. The entry point of your stress is not the stress itself, and it's not the exit point. So we started ranting about buses and car loops. That's an entry point. It's an entry point. I wanted to put you guys there so you can have that entry point. That's not the exit point. That's not really what's getting to you. It's lost time. It's lost energy. If you don't have children, it could be, man, they get to drop their kids off. I don't have any. Or you may have an empty nest now. And you'll be thinking, I don't have my children anymore. They're off at college or they've gotten married and I don't have them when they live across the country. The thing is that the entry point is what makes us be mean women. But if we actually do some practice like breath work, like grounding, emotional freedom technique, you get to find out really where the stress really relies. Where does it really start? What's the entry point is fine. How to find the exit point, which is why in EFT we always do acknowledging what's actually going on.
Yeah.
And if you were working with us one-on-one or, in one of our circles, we would actually go through what does it look like? What is actually wrong? And finding what does it stem back to? What does it connect to? Because let's face it, yellow school buses are annoying, but not that annoying. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. It's connected to something else. But what we tend to do in our rushing and are not giving ourselves proper self-care or time, we attack the top level, the top layer. And that is usually just scratching the surface. And our nervous system doesn't ever get a chance to reset because we're busy scratching the surface.
Yeah.
That's not it. Morgan's a master paintress, okay? And the bottom line is that, look at that smile. She knows she's an artist over there. And the thing is, she was doing a house, was this summer or this spring, you were doing a house, and how many coats did you have to do? You were like, I had to realize I had to scrape it down. Scrape it down first. Sometimes that's what we're doing. We're painting over, painting over, painting over, painting over. Guess what? It's peeking. The color's peeking through. It's peeking through. What's that paint called that you use?
There's
Kills.
Kills, yeah.
Right. So what a metaphor, right? Kills. So that's what we think we're doing. We're painting over, painting over, painting over. But sometimes you got to scrape it down. The kills is not working.
Chatone, you don't even realize how good that was. Because the whole point of kills is to completely get rid of all evidence of anything that was there,
Right.
smoke damage, grease, anything like that. So completely stripping it down and making sure that it disappears.
When you use that, you don't necessarily scrape it down. So it's still there, way underneath. And so I think the thing is with women, with us, especially in midlife, it is to get to the bottom of things. Get to the bottom, get to the root, get to after. That's the whole point. I love this particular tapping. I love the fact that, we started one place, the entry point, and we end someplace else. The most important part is, okay, how am I really feeling? And at the end of any tapping, that is the question. How do you feel? And again, working with us, you'll learn how to kind of level off your numbers, like where did you kind of start at, how do you end, and it's really good. So, okay, Morgan. So before we let these good people go, I think that a couple of good affirmations would be lovely. Do you want to give us a few?
Yes, absolutely. I love this part so much. Okay, so take your hand and put it over your heart. And then the other hand, I invite you to put on your stomach, right on your belly, as we take in deep, slow breaths. And then once again, you're more than welcome to repeat after me, or you can say it in your head, or just join us in this moment. I am open to honoring how heavy this season feels.
I'm open to honoring how heavy this season feels.
I'm willing to treat myself with compassion as I carry it.
I'm willing to treat myself with compassion as I carry it.
I am moving towards releasing what I don't need to hold.
I am moving toward releasing what I don't need to hold.
I am ready to see myself as worthy of rest and support.
Oh, say that one again.
I'm ready to see myself as worthy of rest and support.
I'm ready to see myself as worthy of rest and support. I love the progression on that. And did y'all feel that? You may not be at a I am ready, but being willing to be ready, so good. Mwah. Love it, love it, love it. All right, listen, we've got a lot of things coming up very shortly. We wanted to make sure we left you, just left you in that little calm energy so that you can go on with the rest of your day and the rest of your week. Definitely share this episode. We're all going through this right now. Everyone you know is going through this right now. So share this episode with them. Of course, like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And then look back at our archives. Our library is so rich. And know that in the next couple of weeks, we will be talking more serious things. We will be in the month of October doing a lot about domestic violence, of course, as it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And we'll be talking a lot about that and talking about motherhood and wifehood and all those things. But one of the most important things is knowing that we're always going to be here, right? You're going to be here, right?
Every Tuesday morning.
8 a.m. Eastern. And our goal is to hope that you've just felt a little lighter after this. Maybe it made you laugh or giggle, and if it did, good. But if it also made you be a little introspective, good too, because we need all of that. We need all of that. So make sure you're with us next week, because we're going to bring you a coach that you're going to welcome her and say, where has she been my entire whole life?
My whole life.
So good. All right. Until next time, thank you, Morgan. Thanks for being with me. Everybody have an amazing day, a great week. And don't forget, you can get to after where your partners. We're going to help you get there. Take good care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.